Evelyn Carter was 79 when she learned what it meant to outlive trust. After her husband's death, the house they built together became her world, full of memories and warmth. But to her children, it was only property, equity, and money waiting to be taken. Her son and daughter came often with fake smiles, talking about safety and care. They said a nursing home would be better for her, that she deserved rest, that they would handle everything. She trusted them, as mothers often do. She signed papers they gave her, believing they were health forms, but months later strangers appeared at her door. The property has been sold, one man said, holding documents with a forged signature. Her own children had sold the house while she still lived in it. The bank accounts were drained, and her name was erased from the deed. When she protested, lawyers called her confused. Her children sent her to a nursing home called Silver Pines, quiet, polished, and full of ghosts. At night, Evelyn wrote on napkins, remembering details, conversations, and dates. Her roommate, once a banker, told her how her family had done the same. Betrayal, she learned, was contagious, but Evelyn still had one thread of hope. A line her husband had whispered years ago: if anything ever happens, look inside the piano. The piano had been sold with the house. One afternoon, she bribed a young nurse with a ring to use the phone and called the new homeowner. Pretending to be from property services, she asked about a hidden compartment under the piano lid. The man laughed. We found an envelope and sent it to the lawyer listed on the back, a Mr. Clark. Evelyn's heart froze. Clark was her husband's old attorney. Weeks later, she received a letter at the nursing home. Clark confirmed that her husband had written a second will, to be opened only if the property was sold without her consent. She used her last keepsake, her husband's watch, to pay a taxi and visit his office. The document was real, witnessed and sealed. It stated, if my wife is deceived into losing what we built, everything transfers to the Evelyn Carter Foundation for Women in Education. Our children may inherit only what they respect. If they respect nothing, they inherit nothing. The fraudulent sale had triggered the clause automatically. Every asset, every dollar, and every piece of property was now out of her children's hands, locked into the foundation her husband created in her honor. Clark looked at her gently. He wanted to protect you, Mrs. Carter. He thought of everything. A week later, Peter and Grace were summoned to the lawyer's office. They arrived angry and restless, expecting another manipulation. The will was read aloud slowly, each line striking like a verdict. Peter shouted, calling it a trick, claiming his mother had lost her mind. Grace wept, apologizing between tears, trying to convince everyone it was just a misunderstanding. Evelyn didn't argue. She waited for silence, then spoke with calm precision. You called me confused when I trusted you, selfish when I hesitated, and useless when I stopped signing papers. Now I call you what you've earned, empty. The lawyer closed the folder, and that sound felt like the door of judgment locking behind them. Days later, the story made headlines. Children lose fortune after defrauding their elderly mother. Reporters came to her nursing home, begging for interviews. Evelyn declined them all. She had no use for pity or fame. Her victory didn't need applause, only quiet. Months passed, and Silver Pines was exposed for financial abuse after an anonymous report reached the authorities. The handwriting on the documents looked very familiar. The home was shut down permanently. Evelyn moved into a small apartment near the new Carter Foundation library, built from the same funds her children had stolen. Inside a glass display rested her husband's old fountain pen engraved with the words, "For those who signed in trust and learned late what ink can cost." One evening, she walked past her old home, now transformed into the foundation's headquarters. The garden still bloomed, the house freshly painted with a name on the plaque. A journalist stopped her and asked, "Do you ever miss your family?" Evelyn smiled, a calm, distant smile. "You can't miss what sold itself," she replied and walked away. At sunset, she returned home, brewed tea, and opened a letter from a scholarship student thanking her for changing their life. She placed it beside her husband's photograph and whispered, "We did it, Tom." From her open window drifted the soft sound of a piano, playing the same melody her son once learned as a boy. Before greed silenced it, the notes rose steady and clear, as if the house itself was finally breathing again, no longer filled with betrayal, but with peace.